Hello, this is Linda Vettrus-Nichols, and do I have an amazing person to introduce you to, Dr. Bindu Babu. Welcome, Dr. Bindu.
Hi, Linda. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so look around. Isn't there a song about that?
I think it's like a Beatles song, right?
Like way back. I love it. So look around, like at the flowers, and count your gifts, and then we'll even get into attachments. So when you hear the words look around, where does that take your mind?
Well, for me, I always think of a garden because that's my happy place.
Okay.
I love a garden. So everyone has their own. Some people could be an ocean or a beach or,
Right?
but for me, it's my happy place. So when I say look around, I think of flowers, I think of butterflies, I think of the trees, the sunlight, and I think of the smell of grass. So, it brings me to my happy place, and I start thinking of how beautiful the universe is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my thing. So when I think about it, I think of how pretty each flower is and how miraculous the universe is to bring you happiness, right?
Yeah.
So there's happiness around you, but sometimes you're so stuck on what you want or what you define as happiness that
Right.
you don't realize what's given to you,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
simple stuff and how
Yeah.
that brings you happiness or that brings you peace. So it's kind of like grounding yourself again with what you have, so look
Yeah.
around,
I love it.
look around, smell the smell the flowers, hear the birds.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's even like a form of meditation when you're listening to an orchestra or out in the garden where you just zero in on the bird and you don't hear anything else. Or you zero in on the violins or just on the horns or whatever. So
Yeah,
that's cool. You can just be, right?
just
Uh,
be.
I Gardens are a bit of a trigger for me. I remember my mom didn't have one, and my aunt was a master gardener. She had a beautiful garden, and then there was like a little gardening club in grade school, so I goofed around a little bit with that. And then there was this boy next door to my grandparents' house, and we would chum around, and there was a garden with really tall flowers down at the corner. And one day we just walked in there and picked all flowers. And we were in so much trouble. We had no idea we were going to be in that much trouble. So the garden thing is a little turn off. I'd take the water, the ocean, the lake, the river, not the garden.
That's what I said. Everyone has a memory or everyone has something that triggers them. But you know what? Sometimes it's nice to just, be always in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
That brings you your happiness.
Yeah, absolutely. And for my birthday, my mom used to make a double chocolate cake and a kind of a meringue frosting with mint. And then the next day it was even better because it would get hard and just sort of melt.
Oh,
It was
that
a
sounds
white
amazing.
frosting. Yeah, it was really good. And then she would pick pansies were my favorite flower and still are. So she would pick purple and gold pansies and put them on top of the cake because my birthday's in July. And then she took mint leaves and put them around the pansies every year. It was so much fun. But I tell you, the leftovers the next day, it was way better.
That's so nice. So
Yeah.
much. It's so funny how we said flowers and we're talking about look around and how it triggers so many beautiful memories.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, it brought up one of the garden ones where you're like, but the memories, and then to focus on those memories, and then notice you start feeling warm and you feel happy, and then you feel
Yeah.
appreciative, and you think about the cake, and you think about your mother, and the love, and the
Right?
sacrifice, and the
Yeah.
thoughtfulness, and it just takes you out of whatever realm that maybe you could have been in
Yep.
to the beauty, and it's so important to do that.
Yeah, and there's so much associated with the rose. And so I've I've got a little quote that I put into sympathy cards and stuff. It's like death is like a rose, beautiful for those who experience it, and tragic for those who are pricked by the thorns and left behind.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So count the gifts. So look around and count the gifts. So is that like gratitude to you, or like how do you look at gifts?
Well, I think about it could be so when I use the term gifts, I think of everything, like not only what the universe, even it could be things that people have given you, a reminder of how appreciated you are, you know.
Yeah.
You said about the cake. I mean, yes, it's your mother, but you know, you have to, it's the human, forget the title of mother, it's the human aspect of, I want to do this to because I appreciate my daughter. It's not just, you know, she could have bought a cake, right? I mean, not that I do the buying cake because it's difficult for me to do. I'm not that great with the whole mint cake cooking thing.
Yeah, me neither.
But I'm saying is you could have just done it as a satisfaction. But if you have a talent and you're taking that time to do it for someone, and see today, you're remembering that.
Yeah.
It's not just the bond between your mother and you, it's the gift of giving, the gift of appreciation, the gift of thoughtfulness that you're so meant for somebody,
I
you know?
so love that. That's so cool. I worked in a psychiatric day treatment center, and one day my boss gave me, I don't even remember what she gave me. I kept the card. I just ran across it the other day, and it was kind of a little gift of something sweet or whatever it was, um, something about to remind you that someone cares, even for those days when it seems like nobody doesn't, or something like that. It was so sweet, though. It was so special. It's
Yeah.
just out of nowhere. Yeah.
And that's important because we so when we say gratitude, of course you have gratitude, you know, you do have gratitude to those gifts, and you do appreciate it. But when you really look at it in a different way of counting your gifts, it's not just gratitude, because I have gratitude for the fact I have a home, I have shelter, I have
Yeah.
food, I can provide. Sure, we do, you know, we have gratitude. But it's also the fact of those things given to you is because of who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Those gifts of love. I remember for Christmas, I took, for my mom, I took those, I don't know if you know those industrial, um, it's like threads wrapped around these cones. And so I had these empty cones, and I had oval styrofoam, um, like I used them for heads anyways, and
Okay.
muslin, and I dipped them in wheat paste, and and then I dented in for the eyes and the noses, brought them out a little bit, used the muslin that way almost to sculpture them. And then I had the clothes, and I did the whole manger scene. And I mean, I had the wise men with the turbans, and then I sprayed, everything was dried, and I sprayed it gold, and then I put like a real little jewel in, on the wise men, and took a celluloid little baby doll for baby Jesus in the manger, and took little sticks and made the manger. And I just went to town on it and gave it to my mom for Christmas. And it's one of those gifts that, because it was so much of me and my creativity and what I loved so much, she just went nuts over it. She loved it so much, and she still brings it out every Christmas to this day. It's like we had to respray it a few times. But that just reminds me of when somebody gets a gift or gives a gift, that's so much of their, like you had said, talent and love, right? It just means so much more to the person receiving it, even to the person giving it. It's so much fun to do that, right?
Yeah, because it's you're doing your what you're good at, right? So you're happy and you're pouring your happiness, your energy into this, and you're
Yeah.
trying to figure out, oh, how's this going to look, or what am I going to do? And like your whole mind is on that, and you're
Hmm.
doing it to make yourself happy, yes, but it's also to give that happiness to somebody.
Yeah, it's full of your energy when you
So
do that.
beautiful. It's
Yeah,
so beautiful, and it really, you know, it's appreciating all those little things. I mean, we can't get that from everybody, but when you do have one or two of those gifts, or when you do have things that are around you, it just shows that, you know, you're loved and you're a good person, and you, besides your own validation,
yeah,
you know, look around and appreciate, and it really kind of grounds you too.
yeah, absolutely. I love it. Okay, attachments. Look around for attachments. That's an interesting one. What does that mean to you?
So when I think of attachments, and this is a kind of like a Buddhist way of thinking, maybe, um, you know, we have relationships, we have, you know, a combination of so many things around us that, you know, collaborates who we are, right?
Mhm.
But what's important is when you have an attachment to someone, is to understand that they have to grow on their own. It's not an attachment where it's a need.
Mhm.
It should be a want, you know? So when I think of attachments, I'm always like, you know, embrace the fact that you have, let's say you have a significant other, or you have children, or you have your work, whatever it is that makes you happy. But remind yourself that that's not the only thing to, you shouldn't have so much attachments, you know? It's more about being, understanding that that's you and that's your creativity, but that doesn't make you who you are. So look at all the things you do have, but look at yourself and you're enough.
Love it. Yeah.
You're enough.
Yeah.
So it's important to understand that you're enough. Those things make, of course, you know, having a partner or having a flowing career, it makes you happy, but that doesn't make you who you are, and that's important to understand that.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. And when some people have like a tragedy of like losing a limb or ending up in a wheelchair, um some it like they might as well be dead because they really weren't centered on they are enough, whether they have a limb or not, right? Does that make sense?
Well, yes, and it's also hard.
Oh, very.
You
Yeah.
know, it's
Like
hard.
easy for me to say.
Yeah, exactly. For
It's
me,
so
like,
hard.
it's hard because, you know, we can all say, well, look at, you know, especially a person. I mean, whether you're born in it or you lose it in the middle. I mean, I'm going to take an example of, let's say you did have all four limbs and you were in a tragic accident. Now you have to live without a limb.
Right.
That's horrible.
Mm.
And, you know, because you had this experience, now you have to relearn a different life. And then,
Right.
you know,
So
you have your own
frustrating.
inadequacies. And we can all sit there and be like, well, at least you have your other three, and let's look at it in a
Oh
positive
yeah.
light. And
The
yes,
poisonous at least wording, right?
right. And we can say so many things, but it's not difficult for that person to kind of wrap their head around it. It takes some time and a lot of work and a lot
Yeah.
of, like, you know, you're victimized, this whole load of things there. But
Yeah.
I always look at it as, and I mean, if this was me, and I'm not in that, but I would try to convert my mind, because I do have a more of a spiritual thinking, that I have a life lesson, not only for myself, but for somebody else.
Mhm. Ooh.
You know,
Yes.
it's for somebody else, whoever is around me or whoever sees me. Maybe it brings gratitude to other people, and it grounds them when they see me without a limb, that, oh my God, thank you, God, I have all my limbs and I'm
Yeah.
able to do this. And, you know, what can I do to help? I mean, it all comes down to the learning of love and compassion. So,
Right.
you know, I do have a strong belief my life is not just for me, it's for others.
Mhm.
You know, and it's kind of like, you know, if you, even whatever tragedies you might have had in your life to become who you are,
Right.
there's a reason for it. You know, it's to teach other people, to inspire other people, to bring strengths to other people. So it's really a personal belief that you have to work through to understand that.
Yep. You get to,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's a whole bunch of coaching sessions there.
Life is a choice. Very
Yes,
cool. Yeah.
yes,
Well,
just,
and it reminds me of the girl that was a surfer because, like, when she lost her arm to that shark,
yes,
um, phew, that just, especially a surfer, oh my gosh,
right,
you had to like completely relearn her balance.
right.
Yeah. So
But she learned.
she did.
You know,
She
that's a lot of determination. She learned. She was back on that surfboard.
Yeah. And do you remember the movie Fried Green Tomatoes when the little boy lost his arm?
I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Yeah, and his mom's like, "Why are you calling him Stumpy?" And she goes, "Well, because everybody else will. We might as well be the first." And he just was like, "It is what it is." And so just having that sort of childlike faith of it is what it is,
Right.
and take it or leave it. This is me, and I am enough.
Right.
It's just so brilliant. I love that.
Yeah. And it's not an easy road, but you can do it. And that's inspiring.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing with all of us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Linda. It's such a wonderful, what a wonderful experience.
Oh, good. All right. Thanks again. Bye bye.
Bye bye.